Chapter 227 Utter Defeat. Golden light filled the sky. Countless individuals stared at the illusionary giant golden dragon image that had formed within the golden light, as thick awe emerged in their eyes. Dragon, an extremely powerful ancient and mythical beast. Even in the demonic beast world, it was considered a top-tier existence. In fact, such an existence was likely unable to be found even in the entire Great Yan Empire. Therefore, ordinary people would have only heard rumors of it, and even the opportunity to see an illusionary figure like this was rare. The presents given by that Nirvana stage practitioner were indeed extremely lavish. The ancient heavenly scales halberd technique was divided into 4 layers. Each layer was more powerful than the next. In particular, the final layer, Heavenly Dragon Halberd, was incomparably powerful. Lin Dong guessed that the strength of this attack was probably able to match up to certain upper category 9th grade martial arts. Most importantly, even the current Lin Dong could only barely execute this mighty attack. Therefore, one could only imagine just how fearsome this attack would be once Lin Dong was able to bring out the full potential of this move. A golden glow filled the horizons while a giant golden dragon shadow was entrenched within. Faintly, an exceedingly fearsome shockwave emerged, causing the scalps of some powerful individuals in the stands to turn numb. As it howled forth, a large gap actually appeared between the martial arts arena and the stands. Evidently, they were afraid of becoming collateral damage. That little bastard actually possesses such a terrifying martial arts. Under the encompassing golden glow, Luoju, whose body had ballooned to twice its size, seemed exceedingly tiny. The redness in his eyes had dissipated slightly due to the overwhelming pressure pushing down from mid-air. From that area, he could feel an exceedingly dangerous aura. No matter how you resist, I shall smash you with my hammer. At this juncture, there was no room for retreat. Furthermore, after executing Devil Ape transformation, Luoju's rationality had evidently suffered. As a blood-red glint flashed across his eyes, instead of slowing down, he chose to increase his speed as he turned into a red flash. A giant warhammer shadow flashed across the horizons, before it was viciously directed towards that golden patch in the sky. Lin Dong coldly stared at that incoming red light. The ancient heavenly scales halberd in his hands began to vibrate violently, before the intricate scales on the halberd were completely raised, giving the ancient halberd the impression of a hideous porcupine, that was eerily filled with a unique menacing aura. Swoosh swoosh. Streams of potent great sun thunder yuan continuously gushed forth from his dantian, before they poured into his ancient heavenly scales halberd. It seems like in order to execute this move, Lin Dong had to use all of his strength. Growl. As streams of potent yuan power poured in, the giant golden dragon shadow that wrapped around the halberd became increasingly lifelike. Moments later, that tightly shut dragon eyes suddenly opened. As that golden glow flowed, a seemingly ancient and earth-shattering dragon roar sounded out. Buzz buzz. Just as that dragon roar echoed forth, the ancient halberd in Lin Dong's hands suddenly ejected forth. As that halberd dragon solidified, it finally dashed forth with a golden glow that filled the horizons. As that golden dragon halberd shadow howled forth, the yuan power between heaven and earth began to vibrate violently. Streams of visible yuan power circular waves began to spread out from that golden glow. Faintly, there was also the sound of thunder mixed in, giving it an extremely formidable impression. Red and golden glow seemed to have split the air above in the martial arts arena into 2 sides. This insane sight caused everyone to stare in awe. This was the kind of scene that was befitting of a battle between 2 true elites. Boom! The speed of that golden glow was extremely rapidly. In mere seconds, it was reflected in the pupils of the crowd. Just like a meteor, it violently clashed against that red glow. An exceedingly formidable and savage yuan power shockwave emerged from that epicenter, just like a hurricane. Meanwhile, it directly ripped several arm-sized cracks on the martial arts arena. At the moment of impact, Luoju clearly felt the terrifying force contained within that golden dragon's shadow. Though it was merely for a few seconds, he felt like his body had been being crushed by a giant mountain. Even his bones, which have been strengthened after he executed Devil Ape transformation, began to release squeaky noises at that moment. Right now, he finally understood just how powerful Lin Dong's attack was. A red glint flashed manically in his eyes, as Luoju continued to resist while sore growls began to emerge from his throat. As a red glow violently gushed forth, he used every ounce of his strength to resist that extremely formidable golden dragon halberd shadow. Trying to defeat my halberd techniques with brute force alone? You must be dreaming. Lin Dong coldly stared at Luoju, who was desperately resisting against his golden dragon halberd shadow. Then, he violently slammed his palm down, before countless golden glows instantly erupted from that golden dragon halberd shadow. Clang! The ancient halberd was clasped between his two war hammers. However, under Luoju's bewildered stare, cracks began to slowly emerge on his two war hammers. Growl! At this instance, the golden dragon shadow that wrapped around the ancient halberd immediately penetrated forth, before it lightning quick slammed against Luoju's body. Boom! An extremely deep sound erupted in mid-air, before nearly all the potent Yuan power undulated on Luoju's body instantly disappeared. Immediately after, his clothes were ripped apart, before he revealed a vest that he wore underneath. On the surface of that vest was a light beam glowing. It seems like it was actually a soul treasure. However, a low-tier soul treasure vest was evidently unable to withstand such a formidable attack. Hence, when that golden dragon shadow, that contained an extremely fearsome flux began to spread out, the glow on his vest swiftly dimmed. Then, cracks began to emerge and grow, before it exploded with a loud bang. Buzz! When his final defense fell, Luoju's face almost instantly turned pale as snow. Then, fresh blood continuously gushed out from his mouth, while faintly, the sound of bones being broken echoed out. Under countless bewildered stares from the crowd, Luoju's body was blown away in mid-air, before he solidly slammed onto the martial arts arena. Instantly, a near 100 feet long scratch mark appeared on the arena. Meanwhile, blood stains were scattered along the scratch mark, resulting in a piercing and bloody sight. The outcome was seeming decided in a split second. That golden dragon halberd shadow possessed a seemingly unstoppable force as it utterly bulldozed through all of Luoju's attacks and defenses. An advanced form creation stage elite practitioner was utterly defeated. As they stared at that Luoju, who was lying on the ground like a dead dog, the martial arts arena turned deadly silent. Meanwhile, the face of every member of Bloody Vulture Martial Dojo was now as pale as snow. In fact, some of them began to back away stealthily. The reason why Bloody Vulture Martial Dojo could afford to be this arrogant was entirely because of Luoju's existence. However, right now, after Luoju suffered an utter defeat, the pillars supporting their martial arts dojo had crumbled. For the Bloody Vulture Martial Dojo, this would definitely be a critical blow. Of course, in contrast to the doom and gloom at Bloody Vulture Martial Dojo, over at the Martial Eagle Dojo, after a moment of silence, an earth-shattering celebratory noise erupted forth before they turned and stared fervently at that young man, hovering in mid-air. "We have actually won," Zhang Lei muttered to himself, as his hand continuously trembled. Evidently, he was extremely moved inside his heart. Meanwhile, his eyes were filled with excitement and delight as well. Huff, standing aside, Zhang Shui's jade-like hands gently pressed down on her inflated busted chest region, as the worry between her eyebrows began to gradually dissipate. Swoosh! Lin Dong's feet stepped onto his blade shadow, as he stared down coldly at Luoju. As he extended his hand, the ancient heavenly scales halberd immediately returned to his hands. Then, his figure ferociously swooped down, while the ancient halberd in his hand was lightning quick directed towards that Luoju. When he felt that vicious incoming force wind, Luoju's tightly shut eyes suddenly opened up, before he shouted out pitifully, "I admit my loss." Buzz! That formidable halberd edge stopped right in front of Luoju's forehead. However, that formidable force wind still caused a scratch on his face, before fresh blood continuously flowed out. Lin Dong stared at Luoju, who was now panicking, before he slowly said, "Get out of Great Eagle City." When he heard these words, Luoju's face began to twitch violently. Half a moment later, he finally nodded his head begrudgingly. However, when he hideously tried to stood up, a malicious and poisonous glint suddenly appeared in his downtrodden eyes. As that poisonous glint flashed forth, Luoju suddenly lifted his hand. Immediately, the area below his palm actually began to squirm. Then, dozens of tiny light beams penetrated through his skin, before they lightning quick dashed towards Lin Dong. Faintly, there was a bloody smell emerging from those light beams. Evidently, they were covered with lethal poison. Lin Dong, watch out! That sudden sneak attack caused everyone to panic, as Zhang Lei hurriedly shouted out. That light beam rapidly grew inside Lin Dong's eyes. However, just as they were about to hit his forehead, a stream of mental energy gushed out from behind the latter's eyes. Buzz buzz! That dozens of light beams turned into poisonous needles, that were as fine as cow's fur, before they hovered in front of Lin Dong. Then, they all dropped onto the ground lifelessly. When he saw that his final sneak attack had failed, Luoju's heart turned icy cold instantly. Without further ado, he immediately utilized all the remaining Yuan power in his body and tried to retreat. Buzz! However, this time around, Lin Dong did not give him a second chance. As he jutted his foot forward, a cold flash was drawn by the ancient halberd in his hand, before it lightning quick hacked towards Luoju's arm. Fresh blood gushed forth, before a torn arm was blown away. Before Luoju even had the time to scream, that halberd flashed before it heavily pummeled against his chest. Buzz chhh! Another fresh mouthful of blood, filled with his shredded internal organs, was spit out, before Luoju's body was blown away. Then, he hideously landed at the area where the Bloody Vulture Dojo members were. As Luoju's body flew forth, Lin Dong gripped his palm, before a suction force emerged. Then, he directly sucked away a Qian bag located at Luoju's waist. Once it reached his palm, he unceremoniously kept it. Boom! As they stared at that hideous-looking Luoju, who crashed solidly on the ground, everyone knew that in the future, Bloody Vulture Martial Dojo would no longer exist in Great Eagle City. Chapter 228, A Beautiful Chance Encounter. Luoju's defeat went against most people's expectations. Before this, no one would have even imagined that this practitioner, who possessed a fearsome reputation in Great Eagle City, would ultimately be defeated at the hands of a youngster who was not even 20 years of age. However, no matter how much they disbelieved in their hearts, when they personally witnessed Luoju lying on the ground, unclear if he was dead or alive, they could only use their rationality to suppress the stormy waves in their hearts, as they cast shocked gazes towards the young figure on the stage. Everyone understood that after the Eagle Martial Dojo and the Bloody Vulture Martial Dojo had crossed swords this time, the former had achieved an absolute victory. Most martial dojos were entirely different from Sec's. Sec's had strong and solid foundations, hence, even if they lost to someone else in a competition, it would only hurt their reputation a little and not affect their base. Martial dojos were different in this aspect, as a dojo master was practically a martial dojo's heart. Once the dojo master was defeated, especially in this kind of situation, it would instantly cause their dojo's prestige to plummet. To a martial dojo, this was akin to a fatal blow. Evidently, this was the situation the Bloody Vulture Martial Dojo was faced with this time. Of course, not all martial dojos were so frail. In the Great Desolate Province, there was no lack of martial dojos with extremely strong and solid foundations, so much so that they could even be compared to some of the larger sects. For example, the Heavenly Martial Dojo, which led the Martial Alliance. They were so powerful and terrifying that even when compared to long-standing factions like the Ghastly Puppet Cult and the Great Devil Sect, the former would not be outshone. Luoju's crushing defeat caused the arena to lapse into silence. In the end, a deafening applause sounded out. No matter how young the victor on the stage looked, the power that the former displayed had subdued everyone here. In the Great Desolate Province, strength was respect. As a thunderous applause rang out, the troops from the Bloody Vulture Martial Dojo quietly withdrew, and some of them even ignored the heavily injured Luoju, as they immediately turned and ran. In the end, only a few of the more loyal ones carried Luoju and escaped like beaten dogs. Lin Dong did not stop the Bloody Vulture martial dojo troops from leaving. Luoju's crushing defeat today had already destroyed the morale of the Bloody Vulture martial dojo. Moreover, although Luoju had managed to retain his life today, he was severely injured and had even lost an arm. With this kind of injury, even if he was able to keep his life, his strength would have greatly fallen. The Bloody Vulture martial dojo had usually conducted themselves in an insolent way. Now that Luoju was badly injured, some of the enemies they had offended in the past would likely not let such a chance slip by. Hence, if Luoju was smart, he would understand that, disbanding the Bloody Vulture martial dojo and leaving Great Eagle City with some of his loyal men, would be the best decision. Lin Dong lowered his head and looked at the Qian bag in his hand before he softly chuckled. He would never be part of a bad deal, and after fighting for so long, it was necessary for him to collect some interest. After keeping the Qian bag, Lin Dong's gaze suddenly turned towards the ancient heavenly scales halberd in his hand, only to discover that the ancient halberd's color had actually become a little dimmer. The originally extended scales had once again tightly plastered themselves to the halberd's body. As he stared at the ancient heavenly scales halberd, a thoughtful look flashed across Lin Dong's eyes. When he had used Heavenly Dragon halberd, he clearly felt an extremely weak yet unique aura flow out from within the ancient halberd, and it was because of this aura that Lin Dong had finally managed to use the Heavenly Dragon halberd in the end. That aura, Lin Dong's gaze flickered. There is some dragon blood sealed within this ancient heavenly scales halberd. I wonder how that guy managed to obtain this blood. Dragons are an extremely ancient and powerful life form in this world. How could someone who had not even reached the third Yuan Nirvana stage obtain dragon blood? While Lin Dong was puzzled, little Martin's voice suddenly echoed in his ears. Dragon blood! Lin Dong was stunned as he mumbled. This blood is extremely weak. Though it is not considered as pure, it indeed possesses a little of a dragon's might. It seems to be sealed by this ancient heavenly scales halberd. If you want to bring out the full power of the heavenly dragon halberd, perhaps, you will first need to let this ancient heavenly scales halberd evolve to a high-ranked soul treasure, little Martin explained. High-ranked soul treasure. Lin Dong's eyebrows slightly furrowed. This was no simple matter. To refine soul treasures, one needed to at least advance to the soul symbol master, and birth the mental energy fire, before being able to evolve the ancient heavenly scales halberd. However, there was still some distance between the current him and the soul symbol master level. Forget it, this matter can wait. I will still need quite a few rare materials to evolve the ancient heavenly scales halberd to a high-ranked soul treasure. Lin Dong shook his head, keeping the ancient heavenly scales halberd into his Qian bag, before jumping down from the stage, and landing in front of Zhang Lei and the rest. Old brother Zhang. Lin Dong clasped his hands together towards the excited and emotional Zhang Lei, as the latter hastily returned the gesture. Due to the excitement in his heart, he was not able to speak coherently. To one side, some of the Eagle Martial Dojo members were also staring at the former with passionate gazes of adoration. The strength Lin Dong had displayed previously caused their hearts to be filled with admiration. Little brother Lin Dong, I, Zhang Lei, truly cannot repay such a huge debt. If there is anything you need of me in the future, even if it involves scaling a mountain of daggers or jumping into a scalding wok, as long as you ask, if I, Zhang Lei, even so much as frown, let the heavens strike me with lightning. When he saw Zhang Lei's emotional and flushed face, Lin Dong laughed as he waved his hand. After chatting a little, he turned his head and looked towards Zhang Shui, slightly smiling as he said, Miss Zhang, fortunately, I have succeeded in my mission. If young master does not mind, call me Shuiyar. Zhang Shui's pretty face was slightly red, while her voice was soft and gentle. Her clear and beautiful eyes darted about Lin Dong's body, but she did not dare to look at his smiling face, as she said in a low voice, Are you all right? I'm fine, only a little spent. Lin Dong laughed. It was somewhat difficult for him to win this fierce battle. Fortunately, he did not sustain any severe injuries, and had only practically poured out all of the Yuan power in his body when using the Heavenly Dragon halberd. thus, there was a feeble feeling in his body. Then let us quickly return to rest. Upon hearing this, Zhang Shui hastily replied. Contained within her voice was a deep concern and worry. Upon seeing such an outburst from Zhang Shui, Lin Dong was stunned for a moment, while Zhang Lei and the rest looked towards her with peculiar gazes. Soon after, a special smile appeared from the corners of his mouth, immediately causing Zhang Shui's pretty face to turn as red as an apple, a sudden and beautiful sight. Let's first head back to the martial dojo. Zhang Lei let out a hearty laugh, before waving his hand. Under numerous envious gazes, he led the Eagle Martial Dojo troops as they made their majestic return to the martial dojo. The great victory today was undoubtedly an extremely joyous occasion for the Eagle Martial Dojo. Ever since the Bloody Vulture Martial Dojo had established themselves in Great Eagle City, they had clashed many times with the Eagle Martial Dojo due to the insolent mannerisms. Moreover, due to various reasons, the Eagle Martial Dojo had chosen to give way most of the time. This caused quite a number of the Eagle Martial Dojo members to feel stifled, and today, they had finally vented out all of their suppressed feelings. Lin Dong was not too interested in the Eagle Martial Dojo's lively celebratory feast. Hence, after hanging about for a while, he excused himself from the noisy hall. As he walked through the quiet courtyard, Lin Dong gazed at the bright moon in the sky, and softly sighed. Time had unwittingly passed, and he had already left Yan City for almost half a year. He did not know how his father, Qing Tan, and the rest were doing in Yan City. However, no matter how much he missed his family, Lin Dong understood that the current him could not possibly return like this. It was exactly because he cared for his family that he needed to work hard, and gain the power to protect them. The current him clearly did not possess that kind of power, thus, he still needed to continue his training journey, even if the price that he must pay is that of loneliness. Shat. While these thoughts floated in Lin Dong's heart, soft footsteps suddenly sounded out from behind him. Immediately, he chuckled and said, "Looks like you also do not like that kind of noisiness." While he spoke, he turned his head and smiled at Zhang Shui, who was being as stealthy as a beautiful kitten. After being discovered by Lin Dong, Zhang Shui's pretty face blushed a little, as she softly replied, "Father and the rest might have forgotten some mannerisms as they were too happy today, I hope that young master does not blame them." Lin Dong chuckled and shook his head. He naturally would not take offense to these things. Zhang Shui's beautiful eyes stared at the slightly immature-looking face, and suddenly asked, "Young master should be leaving Great Eagle City soon, right?" Lin Dong was a little taken aback. Soon after, he nodded his head and said, "My journey this time is for the sake of training. Naturally, I need to travel about the great desolate province more." Upon hearing this, Zhang Shui silently nodded her head with a somewhat sad look in her beautiful eyes. However, she quickly picked herself up, slightly smiling as she said, "The great desolate province is rather chaotic, young master should take care as he wanders about." Lin Dong laughed, slightly dazed as he gazed at the gentle beauty before him, who appeared even more elegant under the light of the moon. While Lin Dong was dazed, a delicate fragrance suddenly assaulted him. When he regained his wits, he found that Zhang Shui was gracefully standing in front of him. Currently, the latter's pretty face was scarlet red, and under Lin Dong's astonished gaze, she gently tiptoed, as her soft and red lips once again covered Lin Dong's lips with a heart-palpitating passion. The soft and completely relaxing sensation caused Lin Dong's heart to slightly shudder. Soon after, he involuntarily stretched out his arms and seized that tiny supple waist. When his hands touched Zhang Shui's smooth back, Lin Dong clearly felt the latter's body turn momentarily stiff. Moonlight sprinkled onto the courtyard while the shadows on the ground appeared rather tranquil and warm. This passion lasted for several minutes before the scalding red Zhang Shui struggled free of Lin Dong's arms. Like a tiny startled rabbit, she swiftly escaped, as a tiny noise faintly sounded out. "Thank you." As he stared at the quickly disappearing wonderful figure, Lin Dong wet his lips, a little unsatisfied. Soon after, he softly chuckled. This was a beautiful chance encounter. After Zhang Shui fled, Lin Dong returned to his room before seating himself on the bed. An unfamiliar Qian bag appeared in his hand. This was what he had snatched from Luoju today. Staring at the Qian bag, Lin Dong softly laughed, as mental energy gushed forth. Moments later, a strange bone piece appeared in his hand. On the bone piece were a few script-like markings, and when Lin Dong looked at it, the corners of his mouth could not help but slowly raise. Devil Ape Transformation. Under the reflection of the light, Lin Dong saw three strange words which seemed to give off a ferocious aura. Chapter 229, Devil Ape Essence Blood. Devil Ape Transformation. These three somewhat strange words seemed to faintly give off a ferocious aura under the illumination of the lights. They looked like a devil ape's sinister shiver-inducing smile. Of course, this ferocious aura naturally did not terrify Lin Dong. As he fiddled with that icy cold bone with his hands, a strong curiosity emerged within his eyes. The thing that surprised Lin Dong the most during his intense battle with Luoju, was this so-called devil ape transformation that fellow had executed. After all, it was the first time Lin Dong saw this kind of peculiar martial arts that could alter one's physical body. Furthermore, Lin Dong had personally experienced the might of this devil ape transformation. After Luoju executed it, not only did his strength surge, but his speed and counter-attack abilities etc. increased as well. If he did not rely on Heavenly Dragon Halberd today to deliver a deadly attack, this fight may have been quite a tough one. I wonder where Luoju managed to obtain this kind of martial arts, Lin Dong muttered to himself. Though he did not know how much this item was worth exactly, based on his estimates, he knew that this devil ape transformation was no ordinary martial arts. This is a type of martial arts that mirrors how a demonic beast utilizes its strength. For a short period of time, it allows one to obtain beast-like abilities. Technically, it is somewhat similar to Great Sun Thunder Body. However, this type of martial arts is evidently more complicated and dangerous. Little Martin suddenly appeared on Lin Dong's shoulder, before it took a look at the bone plate in his hand and said. However, cultivating in these types of martial arts seems to cause one's intellectual ability to regress. Lin Dong furrowed his eyebrows. Today, after Luoju executed devil ape transformation, he seemed to have transformed into a wild beast. If this was the price to pay to obtain such strength, then in Lin Dong's opinion, it seems like an unfair bargain. The most important distinction between human and beast, was a human's intellect. Only when one remains in control of his intellectual abilities, could he control his power and prevent it from controlling himself instead. That fellow totally messed up his cultivation. That's how he reduced himself to such a sorry state. If he was truly able to master this martial arts, then he could freely control this power. In that case, perhaps the outcome of today's battle would be completely different. Little Martin pursed its lips as it casually said. Pour your Yuan power into that bone plate and you will be able to learn how to cultivate devil ape transformation. Make the decision for yourself. This martial arts could be quite beneficial for you. When he heard these words, Lin Dong also nodded his head. A stream of golden Yuan power gushed inside that bone plate, before a resplendent glow immediately exploded forth from that originally dark bone plate. Then, several tiny glowing letters emerged ahead of him. When demonic blood enters one body, emulate its shape, seize its strength, control its mind. These obscure and complicated glowing letters entered Lin Dong's mind one at a time, causing him to slowly furrow his eyebrows. These glowing letters that hovered in midair lingered for quite a while, before they gradually disappeared. Then, that bone plate once again dimmed down and became just like an ordinary object. When that bone plate returned to its original form, Lin Dong furrowed his eyebrows even more intensely. That was because he realized that this devil ape transformation was not going to be as easy to cultivate as he expected. In order to cultivate this devil ape transformation, you actually need the essence blood from various ape-like demonic beast. Lin Dong turned to look at little Martin, who was seated on his shoulders, and asked. Yes. Furthermore, you will need to absorb those essence blood into your body and refine it. Then, in the future, when you execute devil ape transformation, a temporary change will occur within the bloodstream of your body and allow you to possess the strength of that demonic beast. Little Martin nodded its head as it said. Is this going to be dangerous? Lin Dong hesitated for a moment. What venture in this world doesn't carry any risk? If you are unable to completely refine the demonic essence blood after you absorb it into your body, your appearance would become similar to that fellow today. In fact, if you are truly unfortunate, that item will cause you to turn totally ghastly, just like a monster. Little Martin rolled its eyes as it said. Lin Dong gripped his palm. He did not want to turn into a monster. Also, how much your strength increases after you cultivate this type of martial arts, depends on how potent the demonic essence blood is. In my opinion, based on the surge in strength that fellow experienced after he executed this martial arts, he should have merely used an ordinary form creation stage devil ape essence blood. When he heard these words, Lin Dong was slightly taken aback. That fellow had only used the most ordinary devil ape essence blood. If he could obtain a more potent devil ape essence blood, then how terrifying would he become? Of course, the more powerful the demonic essence blood is, the more difficult it is to refine it. Hence, the odds of backfiring increases as well. Just as Lin Dong was moved, little Martin's casual words emerged and woke him up. Evidently, an ounce of strength came with an ounce of risk. Anyone would desire to refine potent demonic essence blood to obtain greater strength. However, if one lacks the ability to do so, it would be a suicidal move. If you can obtain a potent devil ape essence blood and refine it, combined with devil ape transformation, even if you encounter Wang Yan again, you can fight against him. When he heard these words, Lin Dong tightened his grip on that bone plate. Even though it was risky to cultivate this devil ape transformation, the strength that he could potentially obtain was truly tempting. Amongst form creation stage practitioners, Wang Yan was likely unparalleled. Furthermore, thanks to his top-tier soul treasure Great Luo Golden Spear, even if he met an initial Qi creation stage practitioner, he could likely match up against him. Previously, Lin Dong was fortunate enough to reduce him to such a sorry state. However, if he encountered him again, he may not have the same good fortune. Inside his room, it was somewhat quiet, while Lin Dong's eyes were gleaming. Moments later, he finally deeply exhaled, as he tightly gripped onto that bone plate in his hand. There is no such thing as a free lunch in this world. If he wanted to obtain strength, then he naturally had to take risks. This devil ape transformation was practically a gift delivered from the heavens to his footstep. If he decided to give up on it, it would certainly be a waste. Have you decided to cultivate in it? As if he knew that Lin Dong would come to this conclusion, little Martin was not surprised as it asked with a smile. Yes. Lin Dong solemnly nodded his head, as a smile emerged on his lips. Since I have decided to cultivate in it, then I shall refine the most potent one. Therefore, I shall look for the most potent devil ape essence blood. Even though the more potent the devil ape essence blood was, the more difficult it was to refine it, Lin Dong was not afraid at all. Since he decided to cultivate in it, then he would not settle for any less. In terms of courage, he was never in short supply. Kid, that is the spirit. This great desolate province is extremely wide, and inside its ancient forests, who knows how many formidable demonic beasts there are. I bet that some of them will certainly satisfy your requirement. Of course, it all depends if you have the ability. Little Martin twinked its eyes as it said. Lin Dong gently nodded his head. Even though it was going to be a slightly taxing search, regardless, he did not want to follow Luoju's stead and casually draw any devil ape essence blood into his body. He felt that if he did so, he would be wasting this type of martial arts. After he made his decision, Lin Dong flipped his palm before he kept that bone plate. Then, he once again ransacked through Luoju's Qian bag. Luoju did not possess much lavish treasures, however, it was still alright. At the very least, there were around 20,000 pure yuan pills inside his Qian bag. Even though it was not a large sum to Lin Dong, who possess over 200,000 pure yuan pills, it was still alright. Mental energy ransacked that Qian bag. Just as Lin Dong was about to give up, an ordinary craft drew his attention. With a flick of his hand, that piece of craft immediately appeared in Lin Dong's hands. As he carefully unwrapped that piece of craft, Lin Dong realized that this was a map. On this map, there were approximately a dozen red dots. Meanwhile, all of these red dots were located in different mountain ranges. Is this? Lin Dong furrowed his eyebrows, as his eyes turned to look at the lowest corner of that craft. At that area, it explained every red dot in detail. Heavenly Bull Mountain Range, Herculean Ape, Form Creation Stage. Demonic Cloud Peak, Mountain Shaking Golden Ape, Initial Chi Creation Stage. Lin Dong stared at the detailed explanations regarding each red dot. Suddenly, delight surged in his eyes. These red dots were detailing the locations of certain devil apes. So Luoju was already prepared. Lin Dong was excited. Thanks to this map, it would greatly reduce the amount of effort he needed to search for these devil apes. As long as he follows the locations on this map, he should be able to locate these devil apes. The devil ape essence blood that Luoju obtained should be from a Herculean devil ape from Heavenly Bull Mountain Range. Lin Dong looked at that Heavenly Bull Mountain Range, before he immediately turned to look at the two most scarlet dots on that map. These two red dots were exceedingly scarlet and they seemed just like fresh blood. When one glanced at it, it caused one's hair to stand. Heaven Shaking Mountain, Heaven Shaking Devil Ape, Initial Manifestation Stage. Ancient Wasteland, Ancient Dragon Ape, Initial Manifestation Stage. Gulp. As he stared at those three blood-red words that caused one's scalp to turn numb, Lin Dong felt cold sweat emerging on his forehead. It seems like his whole body had turned cold instantly. Manifestation Stage Devil Ape. Lin Dong's palm was gently trembling. Moments later, he finally gradually calmed himself down while a thick awe was contained in his eyes. Damn it, this was simply too hard? Just as a thick awe gushed through his eyes, a maniacal feeling emerged from within the deepest regions of Lin Dong's heart. A glint flashed across his eyes. If he could obtain a trace of essence blood from this heaven-shaking devil ape or ancient dragon ape and use it to cultivate devil ape transformation, then he was certain that if he met Wang Yan again, he could thrash him like a dog. The allure of this type of strength caused Lin Dong's breathing to turn ragged. Can I do it? Even though it was extremely alluring, Lin Dong had not lost his mind. As he turned to look at little Martin, his eyes were burning as he asked. He knew that if he wanted to succeed, he must secure little Martin's assistance. Under Lin Dong's fervent glance, little Martin's originally tiny eyes winked into a tiny slit as its eyes stared intently at that two blood-red dots. Half a moment later, under Lin Dong's nervous stare, it finally nodded its head gradually. Yes, we can. Chapter 230, Ancient Dragon Ape. It is possible. When he heard these three words emerge from little Martin's mouth, Lin Dong's heart clenched tightly, as his breathing stealthily turned ragged. A manifestation stage demonic beast. At this level, a demonic beast like this would be an elite existence even in the entire Great Yan dynasty. In fact, even some of the great factions would not dare to provoke one so easily. If ordinary people knew that Lin Dong, who was merely at form creation stage, wanted to provoke a manifestation stage demonic beast, their gazes would probably turn strange. That was because everyone knew that this was a suicidal move. Manifestation stage. Even in this great desolate province, there were only a few humans who had reached this stage. Even these elite practitioners would likely choose to strategically retreat if they encounter such fearsome demonic beasts. How will we do it? Even though the current Lin Dong truly believed that little Martin had an extraordinary background, he did not blindly trust it. After his eyes burned passionately for a moment, he finally regained his senses and asked. In the past, little Martin might have been extremely powerful. However, right now, it was at most as powerful as Lin Dong. Based on their current combined strength, if they choose to provoke a manifestation stage demonic beast, there was only one outcome: they would be directly smashed to a pulp with one slap without any chance of resisting. When it heard his words, Little Martin hesitated for a moment, before it let out a dry laugh. Yes, we can do it. However, we will need to prepare first. Lin Dong was at a loss for words. It seems like this fellow always became unreliable at the critical moment. Amongst the two demonic apes, which one should we make a move on? Lin Dong's eyes turned towards that piece of craft paper in his hand, staring intensely at the two blood-red dots as he asked. Based on their names alone, the heaven-shaking demonic ape and the ancient dragon ape seems to be quite extraordinary. Furthermore, both of them were at the manifestation stage. Therefore, he did not know which one would be easier to make a move on. In the long run, it would be better to choose the ancient dragon ape. However, that fellow will be more difficult to deal with. Little Martin said in a solemn tone. Why? Lin Dong was taken aback, as he asked. The ancient dragon ape is a demonic beast that possesses an ancient bloodline, and a small trace of dragon blood exists within their bodies. This allows them to be considered as quite formidable amongst demonic beasts. A matured ancient dragon ape can match up to a nirvana stage practitioner. From what I can see, this ancient dragon ape should still be at a young age. Little Martin slowly explained. Even though the ancient dragon ape and heaven-shaking demonic ape belong to the same stage, in terms of potential, the former is much stronger than the latter. If you use its essence blood to cultivate demonic ape transformation, the results will be much better. Of course, this ancient dragon ape is exceedingly formidable and is much more difficult to deal with than the heaven-shaking demonic ape. Although it is still young, a single punch from it can easily destroy an entire mountain. Ancient dragon ape, Lin Dong licked his lips. Truth be told, he understood that right now, be it the heaven-shaking demonic ape or ancient dragon ape, both were enemies that they could not face head-on. If he wanted to obtain their essence blood, he would have to use his wits and not brute strength. Else, even if he used every ace up his sleeve, he would still be thwarted. Alright, let's go for the ancient dragon ape then. Let's rest in Great Eagle City for 2 more days before we directly head for the ancient wastelands. Once we reach our destination, we shall figure out how to obtain the essence blood. Lin Dong's eyes glimmered, before fiercely gritting his teeth. Since he had made his decision, it was time give this crazy idea a go. In the next 2 days, Lin Dong remained in Great Eagle City. However, most of his time was spent gathering various information about the ancient wastelands and ancient dragon ape. Even though it was expensive to obtain this information, in order to increase his chances of success, Lin Dong was naturally willing to spend. As he relentlessly gathered information, Lin Dong gained a deep understanding of the ancient wastelands and ancient dragon ape. The great desolate province was extremely vast and there were several ruins left by numerous ancient civilizations. The Great Wastelands ancient table was one example, while this ancient wastelands was another. However, the latter was not as famous as the former. Of course, even if they were not famous, these types of objects left behind from ancient times would naturally attract several treasure hunters. In fact, some lucky fellows had managed to obtain several decent treasures there as well. Even though they were not as extraordinary as the treasures in the Great Wastelands ancient tablet, this still caused the ancient wastelands to become a paradise for quite a few treasure hunters. After all, unlike the Great Wastelands ancient tablet, there was no seal there. Inside the ancient wastelands were numerous ferocious demonic beasts. Some of them, similar to the ancient dragon ape, had traces of ancient bloodlines. Hence, they were evidently more powerful than ordinary demonic beasts. Some powerful factions regularly organize hunting parties in order to hunt these type of demonic beasts. After all, those ancient bloodlines would easily fetch a hefty sum. Moreover, Lin Dong's target this time was the most famous figure in the ancient wastelands, the ancient dragon ape. It was said that several powerful factions had tried to make a move on it, however, they were ultimately thwarted and suffered heavy losses. Therefore, this ancient dragon ape could be considered as the true overlord of ancient wastelands. Also, Lin Dong discovered several major factions surrounding that ancient wastelands. The most powerful amongst these factions was a faction known as the Ancient Sword Sect. It was said that this ancient sword sect had quite a respectable reputation even in the entire Great Desolate Province. This was due to the fact that they possessed 3 Qi creation stage practitioners, an exceptionally powerful lineup. Besides the ancient sword sect, were quite a number of large and small factions. However, their strength paled in comparison to the ancient sword sect. All in all, it seemed like this ancient wastelands was a fairly bustling place. At the very least, it was much more chaotic than Great Eagle City. While Lin Dong was gathering information about the ancient wastelands, the Bloody Vulture martial dojo in Great Eagle City began to collapse as he had predicted. In a single night, most of the members of the originally formidable martial dojo had deserted while Luoju was nursing his wounds. Furthermore, the martial dojo badge on their chests had been unceremoniously discarded. Evidently, after Luoju's defeat, the morale of the Bloody Vulture martial dojo had plummeted. While the Bloody Vulture martial dojo faced this situation, they began to pay the price for their haughty behavior in the past. Some fellows, who had been bitterly oppressed in the past, now began to exact their revenge. To strike a man when he is down was a common occurrence in the Great Desolate Province. Furthermore, as their bitter rivals, the Eagle Martial Dojo would naturally not waste this opportunity. After some stealthy manipulation, they reduced the Bloody Vulture Martial Dojo to a more sorry state. As the number of Martial Dojo members decreased, in the end, even some of the loyal members had no choice but to flee. Right now, everyone understood that the Bloody Vulture Martial Dojo was completely ruined. On the 3rd day, the heavily wounded Luoju finally regained consciousness. Though he was extremely outraged about this situation, there was little he could do. In the end, he could only lead some loyal subjects and flee Great Eagle City in the middle of the night. Based on his current condition, it would likely be difficult for him to accomplish anything in this fiercely competitive Great Desolate Province. After Luoju fled, the Bloody Vulture Martial Dojo, which towered over Great Eagle City for a time, was finally thoroughly ruined. Meanwhile, the Eagle Martial Dojo's reputation surged as it became the undisputed overlord of Great Eagle City. When he saw that Eagle Martial Dojo had secured its place in Great Eagle City, Lin Dong began to relax. It was always good to make more friends. Besides Zhang Shuai, the reason why he had helped the Eagle Martial Dojo this time was because he wanted to make some allies. Perhaps, this would be useful to him in the future. After he put down his worries, Lin Dong understood that it was time to depart. The reason why he came to the Great Desolate Province was to increase his strength, and he was evidently unable to make much progress in Great Eagle City. Therefore, even though this was a good place, he could not linger for long. Hence, 3 days after the Bloody Vulture Martial Dojo was chased out of Great Eagle City, Lin Dong officially informed Zhang Lei of his plans to depart. With regards to his request, Zhang Lei was undoubtedly reluctant. However, he also understood that based on Lin Dong's character, there was no way he would stay in such a tiny Eagle Martial Dojo. Of course, the ones that were the most reluctant were naturally Zhang Shuai and Little Yunyan. The former had some feelings for him, while the latter was largely upset that Little Flame would likely leave together with Lin Dong. Outside the Great Eagle City entrance, Lin Dong stared at Zhang Shuai, who bit her rosy red lips to stop the tears from rolling off her beautiful misty eyes, as he softly sighed inside his heart. "Take care, young master." When he heard Zhang Shuai's gentle voice, Lin Dong silently nodded his head. Then, he cupped his fist towards Zhang Lei and the rest. "Everyone, we will meet in the future." After he spoke, he did not hesitate any longer. As he patted Little Flame's back, the latter released a powerful roar, before it turned into a fiery red shadow and dashed off. As she stared at Lin Dong's departing figure, the mist surrounding Zhang Shuai's beautiful eyes involuntarily gathered together, before they trickled off her beautiful face. "Hi, Lin Dong is no ordinary man. Notwithstanding this Great Eagle City, perhaps the Great Desolate Province or even the entire Great Yan Dynasty cannot tie him down." As he stared at Zhang Shuai's crestfallen expression, Zhang Lei sighed. He knew that in the future, this somewhat immature-looking young man was surely destined for greatness. This type of man could not be tied down by any ordinary woman. Chapter 231, Ancient Wastelands. The Ancient Wastelands was located at the northern area of Great Desolate Province, and it took roughly 5 days to reach there from Great Eagle City. All in all, it was not considered as a border area of Great Desolate Province, but rather located near its central region. Along the way, Lin Dong was not delayed by other matters. Therefore, he traveled directly towards the area where the Ancient Wastelands were located. As he traveled at full speed, in merely 4 days' time, he had arrived at the Ancient Wastelands. Standing atop of a high mountain peak, Lin Dong looked at that giant ancient mountain range ahead of him, as a thick awe emerged in his eyes. Even though he had yet to venture deep within the woods, even from his current location, he could faintly sense a few formidable auras hidden within the Ancient Wastelands. These auras were extremely malicious and fearsome, while faintly, they had an ancient feel as well. They most likely originate from powerful demonic beasts who possess a trace of ancient bloodlines. Within the deepest region, there is an extremely fearsome aura. Lin Dong's expression was solemn as he looked at the deepest region of that mountain range. At that area, he could faintly sense an aura that caused one's scalp to turn numb. That aura was filled with a savageness that caused even the heavens to tremble. Hence, one could just imagine how fearsome that creature must be. That aura. That should be our target this time. Little Martin also cast its glance towards the deepest region of that mountain range with its usual nonchalant look. Just a beast with a touch of dragon blood. There is nothing to fear. Lin Dong rolled his eyes. Right now, he understood that this fellow was usually a loudmouth, however during a critical juncture, it would become totally unreliable. Kid, you don't believe my words? Don't mention these type of beasts. In the past, I have even eaten a real dragon. As if it could detect the mockery in Lin Dong's eyes, little Martin instantly retorted. Lin Dong could not be bothered to deal with it. As he whistled out, Little Flame, whose body had been shrunk into a cat-like figure, immediately darted into his arms. Then, a blade shadow flashed beneath his feet, before it directly flew towards the entrance of the Ancient Wastelands, that was located below. After spending time together for a long period of time, Lin Dong gained a good understanding of Little Martin. Even though this fellow constantly liked to address himself as Grandpa Martin, based on Lin Dong's estimates, amongst his clan, that fellow is probably considered as a teenager. Else, when it spoke, it would not sound so immature. While this thought flashed across Lin Dong's mind, his body directly descended from midair and landed into the woods below. As this was still the outskirts of Ancient Wasteland, there were several figures present nearby. These figures, either formed into groups or entered inside individually. Most of their auras were pretty strong. It seems like most people who dared to venture here to hunt for treasures were pretty skilled. After all, the demonic beasts in Ancient Wastelands were famed for their ferocity and viciousness. If one was negligent, one could easily end up as dinner for these demonic beasts. When Lin Dong arrived in the woods, he stirred up some attention as well. However, they quickly turned away. Most of them did not voluntarily engage in friendly small talk with the others. Rather, their eyes were mostly filled with cautiousness. With regards to this fact, Lin Dong did not mind it at all. As he lifted his legs and quickly walked towards the deepest regions, along his way, he actually saw various demonic beasts. However, the most powerful one that he encountered was merely at perfect Yuan Dan stage. This situation caused Lin Dong to gently furrow his eyebrow, as he felt that something was amiss. It seems like this entire area had been practically swept by someone. Damn it, those bastards from Ancient Sword Sect are too arrogant. They actually directly bulldozed through the entrance to Ancient Wastelands. Just as Lin Dong was fretting, suddenly, 3 figures walked past from his opposite direction. One of their faces were steely green as he angrily cursed. Stop cursing, the Ancient Sword Sect is truly powerful. There is nothing we can do about it. The Ancient Sword Sect will always act in this manner once or twice a year. Just count ourselves unlucky this time. The companion of that enraged man who was swearing, opened his mouth and consoled him. After they finished, they would probably have taken several treasures again. Those bastards, that man was still somewhat disgruntled, as he continuously cursed. "All right, be quiet. What if someone from ancient sword sect heard us? Then, we would be in for big trouble." One of them softly scolded him, before their eyes immediately turned to look cautiously at Lin Dong. Promptly, he shut his mouth, before he quickly walked by. "Has it already been ransacked?" As he stared at the trio's departing figure, Lin Dong's tightly furrowed his eyebrows. He did not expect to run into such a situation. That ancient sword sect does things on a large scale. They actually directly. Lin Dong was silent. That ancient sword sect's strength was simply too strong, and they far surpassed that of Bloody Vulture martial sect. However, right now, he must enter this ancient wastelands. Else, he would definitely fail to meet an ancient dragon ape. Therefore, he must come up with a strategy to deal with them. With a glint in his eyes, Lin Dong suddenly darted up onto a giant tree. As his body swiftly traversed through the woods, several moments later, he finally stopped atop of a giant busy tree before he turned to look at the road ahead. Standing right there, were a dozen of armed men, who were now blocking the entrance. Based on their attire, they were evidently from the same faction. If Lin Dong had guessed correctly, they should be members of ancient sword sect. Lin Dong stared at this blocked entrance, as he silently formulated his plan. Then, he headed towards a different direction. This ancient wastelands was so broad and it was impossible for the ancient sword sect to seal off every exit. Therefore, there must surely be another way. Indeed, just as Lin Dong expected, even though the ancient sword sect was truly powerful, they could not seal off every entrance of ancient wastelands. Therefore, after Lin Dong hopped around for a while, he finally found an opening before he dashed into the inner sanctum of ancient wastelands. When he reached the inner sanctum, Lin Dong immediately saw several ancient sword sect's members. These people were extremely well organized, and they divided themselves into several different parties before heading off to hunt for elixirs and other hidden treasures. Furthermore, they used their large numbers to trap several ferocious demonic beasts, before killing them and taking their demonic crystals. Lin Dong carefully traveled within this inner sanctum, as he tried his best to suppress his breathing and prevent the elite ancient sword sect's members from discovering his presence. Even though he was quite powerful, if he wanted to fight with an entire sect on his own, it was akin to a mantis trying to stop a car. Furthermore, his only goal was to enter into the deepest regions of ancient wasteland and look for the ancient dragon ape. Hence, he wanted to avoid any conflicts with ancient sword sect. As Lin Dong carefully traveled, even though he encountered several ancient sword sect's members along the way, he was not discovered by them. Therefore, his journey was relatively smooth as he gradually traveled deeper into the ancient wastelands. Lin Dong's figure gently floated on top of a tree branch. However, this time, he did not immediately set off. Instead, his eyes turned to look at an area ahead of him. At that area, there was a tiny stream, and at the edge of that stream, there was a deep purple flower that was blooming inside the crack of a rock. Just as this flower bloomed, instantly, a thumb-sized, purple pearl-like tiny round pearl appeared near its petals. Faintly, an extremely rich aroma spread out. Upon sniffing it, it caused one's spirits to be rejuvenated immediately. Purple cloud fruit. As he stared at this purple fruit that was extremely well hidden among this peculiar purple flower, delight flashed across Lin Dong's eyes. This so-called purple cloud fruit was a wonderful medicine that could match up to a grade 7 elixir, and it had terrific therapeutic properties. It is reputed that an elixir refined from this purple cloud fruit was able to fetch nearly 10,000 pure yuan pills on the market. After all, as long as one possessed one such elixir pill, it was akin to having a type of life insurance. Therefore, this explains why this purple cloud fruit could fetch such an exorbitant price. In the past, Lin Dong had only heard of these types of treasures. However, he never expected that he was actually able to encounter one today. Lin Dong stared somewhat excitedly at that purple flower. Half a moment later, his eyes turned to look at that little stream. These types of elixir were typically guarded by demonic beasts. Even though this little stream ahead of him seemed calm on the surface, Lin Dong could sense an extremely formidable aura faintly hidden inside this little stream. A form creation stage demonic python. Lin Dong's mental energy swept across that little stream, before he promptly smiled casually. As he gently tapped on Little Flame, who was seated in his laps, the latter immediately turned into a red flash before it dashed off. As its body moved, it quickly transformed into battle mode and released a roar towards that little stream. Bang bang! When that tiger roar sounded out, water column immediately exploded forth within that little stream. Promptly, a gigantic blue python dashed out, before it unceremoniously attacked Little Flame. However, as it faced this demonic python's attack, Little Flame did not panic at all. As it swiped the python tail at its back, a resplendent lightning glow sparkled forth, before it viciously collided against that demonic python. As he stared at that fearsome battle occurring near the little stream, Lin Dong did not panic at all. Right now, Little Flame's strength was able to counter an initial form creation stage practitioner. Furthermore, since it had devoured the Thunder Crystal Beast's flesh, it possesses the power of lightning. This type of strength was evidently useful to counter against certain types of demonic beasts. Therefore, after one python and one tiger fought for a while, that demonic python began to emerge on the losing end. At the final moment, Lin Dong stealthily made his move, as a golden platform directly descended and knocked that demonic python unconscious. Then, Little Flame instantly seized that opportunity. Waving its razor-sharp tiger claws, with a lightning flash, it directly ripped apart that demonic python. When he saw Little Flame extracting that demonic crystal within that demonic python, Lin Dong gently smiled. Then, his figure flashed before it floated towards the edge of that little stream. Finally, he gently excavated that stalk of purple flower. As that purple flower left the ground, its petals began to rot immediately, before they finally turned into dust and floated off. Then, a purple pearl-like fruit silently emerged on Lin Dong's hands. As he stared at that purple fruit in his hand, the smile on Lin Dong's face intensified. It seems like he was pretty fortunate this time. He had merely stepped foot into this ancient wastelands and he had already stumbled upon such a treasure. Little Flame. After he obtained his treasure, Lin Dong did not plan to linger on as he shouted out. Then, his facial expression slightly changed, as he tilted his head to look at a large tree nearby the little stream. Unknowingly, several figures had appeared in that area. Furthermore, right now, those people were staring hungrily at the purple fruit in Lin Dong's hands. Haha, I never expected that we could find purple cloud fruit in here. It seems like we are truly fortunate. When he heard that one of them had practically regarded that purple cloud fruit as his own possession, Lin Dong's eyes began to twinkle. Contained within his eyes, were a dangerous glint. Chapter 233, Thousand Beast Fruit. A giant shadow was standing right in the middle of the mountain valley, while a savage aura spread out. It seemed like all the UN power between this heaven and earth did not dare to approach it, as they encircled around the perimeter of the valley and formed into a UN power wave-like glowing halo. It seemed exceedingly peculiar. Even though he had little Martin's assurance, Lin Dong was so in awe of that gigantic shadow that he did not dare to breath at all. He understood that if he was discovered by that ancient dragon ape, he would wound up in a sorry state today. Sunlight poured down from the skies before they shone on that giant figure in the middle of the valley. Then, Lin Dong was finally able to clearly discern its appearance. This was a gigantic ape, whose whole body was black in color. It seemed like it was forged from the toughest of steel, while a cold yet formidable glow glimmered across its body. It seems like all it needed was a tiny movement in order to deliver an earth-shattering blow. The face of this gigantic ape was exceedingly hideous. Furthermore, on the top of its forehead, there was actually a sharp black horn protruding forth. That black horn was filled with obscure and complex patterns, while an ancient and formidable scent emerged from it. That is a dragon's horn. It is one of the unique characteristics that it possesses due to the dragon blood inside its body. That dragon's horn is an extremely powerful weapon. However, the ancient dragon ape will not lightly use it unless it has no other alternatives. Little Martin's voice sounded out inside Lin Dong's heart. So, what should we do now? Lin Dong carefully asked inside his heart. If he wanted to obtain the ancient dragon ape's essence blood, then the latter must be injured. However, Lin Dong was evidently unable to accomplish such a feat after all. Once he revealed himself, that ancient dragon ape could kill him with a single slap. Therefore, it was definitely impossible for him to wound it. Don't be impatient. Let's wait first, this is not a game. You must be patient. Little Martin's voice was somewhat serious. Evidently, it understood the gravity of the situation that they faced. If they wanted to obtain its essence blood, then they must first injure the ancient dragon ape. However, right now, they were not able to match up against that ancient dragon ape. Therefore, this created a stalemate. Lin Dong gently nodded his head and he did not say much this time. Then, he quietly seated himself on a boulder behind, before he turned to look inside the valley from time to time. However, since he was afraid of being discovered by that ancient dragon ape, he did not dare to stare at the latter's body. After he briefly glanced at it, he would hurriedly look away. After all, he was afraid that such a powerful demonic beasts may have the sharpened ability to detect a human's gaze. As Lin Dong waited, half a day passed by. Meanwhile, he sat beside the mountain valley without moving at all. In fact, he seemed just like a statue. However, this waiting was not all for naught. As it gradually approached evening time, that ancient dragon ape, who was cultivating inside the mountain valley, finally stood up. Then, it began to walk out of the mountain valley, with footsteps that shook the mountains. It seems like it probably wanted to scour for food. When he saw that ancient dragon ape leaving, delight emerged in Lin Dong's eyes. However, he did not jump into the valley immediately and begin to investigate. Instead, he silently waited for a moment, before he finally jumped into that valley. Piles of white demonic beast corpses filled that valley. Immediately, a nauseous stench greeted him, causing him to nearly vomit. Lin Dong bitterly endured this stench, before he carefully walked around this giant valley. This valley was the exclusive domain of the ancient dragon ape, and it was almost like a sacred ground in ancient wasteland. Both humans or demonic beasts did not dare to tread across this area lightly. Hence, there was naturally several valuable elixirs present. In fact, their numbers caused Lin Dong to be slightly dazed. However, even though he was tempted, Lin Dong did not rashly take these elixirs. Instead, he hastened his footsteps. Moments later, he finally arrived at the most inner sanctum of the mountain valley. When Lin Dong entered the most inner sanctum, a tiny pool immediately emerged in front of his eyes. The water in that pool was dyed blood red, just like it was formed from real blood, and it seemed extremely peculiar. However, what attracted Lin Dong's attention was not only this blood-red pool. Rather, in the middle of that pool, there were actually two, one big and one small, blood fruits floating there. These two blood fruits seemed extremely peculiar and they looked just like demonic beasts. However, one could not deduce which type of demonic beast it was. Upon closer inspection, it seemed like it was made up of several demonic beasts mashed together. Its appearance caused one hairs to stand. This is, Lin Dong stared in shock at that big and small blood-red beast-like fruit, before he asked. Thousand beast fruit. Little Martin suddenly appeared, before it started peculiarly at that big and small blood fruit in the middle of that blood pool. Then, it smiled and said, that ancient dragon ape is truly vicious. It actually wants to refine thousand beast fruits. Thousand beast fruit? What does it do? Lin Dong asked inquisitively. This thousand beast fruit does not occur naturally, rather it is a man-made object. However, the means to create such an object is truly cruel. The means to create one is only known by certain powerful demonic beasts that possess an ancient bloodline. In order to refine this thousand beast fruit, one needs to merge countless demonic beasts' essence blood. Judging from the piles of corpses outside the valley, they must have died after their essence blood were sucked dry by that ancient dragon ape. So cruel, Lin Dong was somewhat tongue-tied. That ancient dragon ape was truly deserving of its savage aura. The way that it handled its affairs was actually so cruel and vicious. Once these 1,000 beast fruits ripens, that ancient dragon ape will be able to utilize its strength to evolve once again. At that time, it can rival a Nirvana stage elite practitioner. Furthermore, for humans, this object also possesses tempering properties. Even though it will not allow one to advance to Nirvana stage, it is pretty effective for tempering one's body. Little Martin's eyes were twinkling as it said. If you can refine and absorb it, perhaps your Bronze Thunder body will begin to exhibit signs of accelerating to Jade Thunder body. Oh! Lin Dong was somewhat moved. In order to cultivate Thunder Bronze body, he had suffered terribly. However, during this period of time, regardless of how hard he trained, he was unable to make any progress on Bronze Thunder body. However, right now, this 1,000 beast fruit could actually accomplish this miraculous feat? Should we take this object then? Lin Dong's eyes twinkled. This 1,000 beast fruit was evidently not an ordinary treasure. Since he had seen it today, why shouldn't he take it? These 2,000 beast fruit have been marked by that ancient dragon ape. If someone tries to steal them, it will sense it immediately and it can even locate the thief. Just as Lin Dong was tempted, little Martin's voice was just like a cold splash, as it caused his body to freeze up. If stealing it caused the ancient dragon ape to return, then he may not even have time to flee. Furthermore, he did not believe that he could safely escape from a manifestation stage demonic beast, based on his current strength. However, I have the ability to cover up this type of markings. However, little Martin's subsequent words caused Lin Dong's icy cold heart to turn heated again. That fellow really liked to troll others. Then, do it quickly. If not, once that ancient dragon ape returns, we will likely become fertilizer for this pool. Lin Dong quickly urged. Little Martin released a weird smile, before its figure floated off. As its claws danced, instantly, a dark purple glow emerged from its fist. Then, it turned into a black hole before it stealthily swallowed those 2,000 beast fruits. As that 1,000 beast fruit disappeared, waves suddenly emerged inside that pool. However, before the vibrations could spread out, little Martin forcibly suppressed it. Leave now. After it obtained the 1,000 beast fruits, little Martin instantly returned before it quickly urged. Lin Dong hurriedly nodded his head. Without further ado, the blade shadow below his feet flashed before it dashed manically out of that mountain valley. Even though little Martin was able to erase the mark placed by that ancient dragon ape, once that ancient dragon ape returned to the valley and discovered that its 1,000 beast fruits have been stolen, it would undoubtedly be furious. Therefore, in order to play safe, it was best to leave as soon as possible. Lin Dong quickly traveled through the woods. As little Martin had covered up his scent, he was not afraid of being discovered by any demonic beasts. Right now, all he could think of was leaving this area. After all, he could only imagine just how terrifying an enraged ancient dragon ape would be. Da! Lin Dong's feet tapped across a tree branch, before his figure dashed off. However, moments before he was about to exit the woods, his heart suddenly sank as he stopped and stared cautiously at the area ahead of him. At that area, there were actually 4 figures. Right now, on their feet, there was a demonic beast's corpse. When he saw that demonic beast, Lin Dong's face changed slightly. That was because, when he first saw that huge fellow, it was an powerful initial form creation stage demonic beast. However, right now, it had actually been killed by those 4 guys. It's you. Just as Lin Dong was shocked by the corpse of that initial form creation stage demonic beast, suddenly a somewhat familiar shout echoed out. Lin Dong was slightly stunned before he turned to look, only to see that among the 4 of them, stood Lu Yuntian, who he had previously sent flying with a single punch. Members from Ancient Sword Sect. When he saw that Lu Yuntian, Lin Dong's slightly sunk. He did not expect himself to be unfortunate enough to run into these guys. Just as his heart sunk, Lin Dong's eyes swept across the 4 of them. Then, he realized that their lineup was truly formidable. Besides that, Lu Yuntian, there was also a buff man at advanced form creation stage. Furthermore, what caused his pupils to shrink was a grey-haired elderly man, who had not spoken a single word yet. That elderly man's face was grim and he looked extremely skinny. However, the skin on his whole body gave off a light golden glow. Evidently, this elderly man was a practitioner that tempered his body as well. Furthermore, he was the most powerful amongst them. In fact, he had actually reached initial chi creation stage. The three elders, this was the fellow that previously snatched our purple cloud fruit. Furthermore, he even openly insulted our ancient sword sect. When he saw Lin Dong, delight surged in that Lu Yuntian's eyes, before he hurriedly spoke to his other elders. When he heard his words, Lin Dong's face turned ugly. This ancient sword sect's strength truly exceeded his expectations. On account of your young age, this old man will not be too harsh on you. Hand over the purple cloud fruit and get lost from the ancient wastelands. In the future, wherever you see our ancient sword sect around, make yourself scarce. That elderly man dressed in grey clothes coldly looked at Lin Dong, before he said. When he heard his words, a devilish anger surged inside Lin Dong's heart. However, his opponents were truly formidable. Hence, he understood that it would not be wise for him to fight against them. Lin Dong, hand them the purple cloud fruit. In fact, hand them 1,000 beast fruit as well. However, just as this thought flashed across Lin Dong's mind, little Martin's cunning voice suddenly rang out inside his heart. When he heard its words, Lin Dong was first shocked, before his heart started to pound violently. That fellow, it actually wanted to use the tiger to devour the wolf. TLN, loosely translated as use the tiger to devour the wolf, refers to a plot by Cao in the Romance of the Three Kingdom, where he offered Liu Bei an official court position and asked him to attack Liu Buletin. Cao had two reasons for doing so. First, if Liu Bei attacked Liu Buletin, then Liu Bei will not be helped by Liu Buletin, aka, God of War. Secondly, if Liu Bei attacked Liu Buletin would surely fight back against him and he may wound up killing Liu Bei. Then, he would remove one major source of trouble for Cao. Thankfully, Liu Bei did not fall for his trap. Chapter 234, Urging the Tiger to Swallow the Wolf. At this moment, Lin Dong's gaze was rapidly flickering. Little Martin's move was ruthless. The ancient sword sect was the strongest sect in the ancient wastelands area, and the ancient dragon ape was also the overlord of this place. If these two parties were to fight, it would be an earth-shattering battle, and this was the only way to cause the dragon ape to be wounded. At that time, he would have a chance at obtaining the dragon ape's essence blood. Kid, did you not hear Third Elder's words? Humph, you've truly been let off lightly. If it was not for Third Elder's kindness, you will definitely have to face the consequences today. Although a little unhappy that the grey-haired elder did not immediately kill Lin Dong, Lu Yuntian clearly did not dare to raise any objection to the former's words. Hence, he sternly shouted out when he saw Lin Dong's hesitation. Lin Dong's eyes slightly narrowed. Soon after, a struggle expression was revealed on his face, as if he was extremely unwilling. However, moments later, he finally let out a dejected sigh, and with a flip of his hand, a blood-red fruit appeared within. The instant this blood-red fruit was taken out, Lin Dong seemed to react almost immediately, as he very quickly flipped his hand and kept the blood-red fruit into his sleeve. When he once again extended his hand, a smooth, round and purple pearl-like fruit appeared, before he clenched his teeth and tossed it towards Lu Yuntian. Haha, wise choice. Upon seeing that he had regained the purple cloud fruit, Lu Yuntian grinned as he chuckled. A growl sounded out from Lin Dong's throat. However, just as he was about to withdraw, the grey-haired elder suddenly stomped on the ground. Stop! Compared to before, there was an additional trace of fervor in his voice. I've already handed the purple cloud fruit over to you all, what more do you want? Upon seeing this situation, anger flashed across Lin Dong's face as he spoke. Hand over that blood-red fruit to me. A feverish look flickered in the grey-haired elder's eyes, as he stared at Lin Dong, and stretched out a palm-leaf fan-like hand. His tone was firm, and did not allow any objection from Lin Dong. In that short moment when Lin Dong had taken out the blood-red fruit, he clearly sensed that strong power. That kind of power even caused a slight numb sensation to appear on his skin. Hence, he knew that this blood-red fruit was definitely a genuine treasure. After hearing the grey-haired elder's words, Lin Dong's expression clearly changed rapidly, as he hastily retreated several steps. The Lu Yuntian trio were also taken aback by grey-haired elder's loss of composure. Soon after, the trio looked at each other, before slowly spreading out, and stealthily surrounding Lin Dong. "Kid, you should know that with your initial form creation stage strength, you do not have the qualifications to resist us." The grey-haired elder was expressionless as he stared at Lin Dong and declared, "I promise you on the ancient sword sect's name that as long as you hand over the blood-red fruit, this old man will definitely not hinder you, and even the ancient sword sect will not make things difficult for you in the future." Gazing at the dark expression in the grey-haired elder's eyes, Lin Dong's expression rapidly fluctuated. In the end, he clenched his teeth in an extremely unwilling manner, and opened his hand, as a beast-shaped blood-red fruit appeared within, which emitted waves of surging energy. Such powerful energy undulations! As he stared at the unusual beast-shaped blood-red fruit, the grey-haired elder was no longer able to conceal the delight in his eyes. His hand grasped out and directly snatched the thousand beast fruit from Lin Dong's hand, after which he could not help but let out a hearty laughter to the skies. Humph! Upon seeing his appearance, Lin Dong was seemingly in a rather bad mood as he snorted. Towards Lin Dong's bad mood, the grey-haired elder took no notice. At this moment, his heart was clearly filled with joy, as he waved his hand and said, "Kid, since you've given this elder such a huge gift, I will not pursue the matter of you dishonoring my ancient sword sect. Get lost." Lin Dong's face was somewhat green, and without further ado, he turned and dashed towards the forest, swiftly disappearing from sight. "Third elder, are you just going to let that kid go?" After seeing Lin Dong leave, Lu Yuntian was still a little unsatisfied as he said, "Hee, this is enough." The grey-haired elder was evidently in an extremely good mood, as a smiling expression appeared on his sinister-looking face. He kept the thousand beast fruit into his Qian bag with a flick of his hand, before turning around to leave. Behind him, the Lu Yuntian trio looked to each other in dismay. Though they were able to tell that the unusual blood-red fruit should be a treasure, they did not expect it would cause their third elder, who had rather high expectations, to be so excited. "That kid is really lucky," the trio muttered before quickly catching up. When the four were far away, Lin Dong's figure once again appeared in the forests to their backs. He gazed at the disappearing figures, as a sneer slowly formed on his face. "Old-timer, you should be careful of the thorns when you take others' things. The seal that I placed on the thousand beast fruit should be able to conceal the undulations of the brand for about 2 more hours. They should be able to return to the ancient sword sect within these 2 hours. At that time, the ancient dragon ape will sense the undulations and find them." Little Martin appeared on Lin Dong's shoulder, the smile on its face was horrifying devious. Lin Dong grinned as he nodded his head. Even though the four were not weak, they were clearly not a match for the ancient dragon ape. Once the latter set out, the 4 of them would have to flee like dogs, let alone injuring the ancient dragon ape. Thus, to let this urging tiger to swallow the wolf plan to reach the most perfect stage, the 4 of them needed to bring the thousand beast fruit back to ancient sword sect. From what Lin Dong knew, there were no less than 3 Qi creation stage practitioners within the ancient sword sect. Adding in their numerous guards and disciples, their combined might would allow them to stand against the ancient dragon ape. Of course, as for the final outcome of neither side winning and coming out injured, Lin Dong did not care. After all, he did not have any good feelings towards the ancient sword sect, and it was not for their greed, they would not have drawn such a calamity to themselves. Hence, it was not wrong to say that they were the cause of their own misfortune. Next, let's prepare to watch the show. Lin Dong chuckled, as he gazed towards the forest behind him. Perhaps, it would not be long before the ancient dragon ape started to go crazy. After the thousand beast fruit was snatched away, Lin Dong swiftly left the deeper area of the ancient wastelands. In the end, he appeared at the top of a mountain peak and surveyed the area. As he gazed about from the top of the mountain, an earth-shaking roar suddenly rang out from the deep part of the ancient wastelands. Contained within the roar was a boundless ruthlessness and fury. In the face of this roar, even the entire mountain range started to tremble, and countless demonic beasts shivered. Even from such a distance, Lin Dong shivered a little. A manifestation stage demonic beast was terrifying indeed. Looks like it has been discovered. Lin Dong softly sighed, as his eyes gazed about. As he expected, after the roar rang out, a thunderclap-like boom suddenly sounded out from the deep part of the wastelands. It was likely that the furious ancient dragon ape was now frantically looking for the one who had taken its 1000 beast fruit. This disturbance by the ancient dragon ape caused the entire ancient wastelands to be in an uproar. Countless demonic beasts frantically fled, afraid that they would become an unfortunate punching bag for the raging ancient dragon ape. For a time, countless demonic beasts desperately escaped from the deeper areas. The huge disturbance in the ancient wastelands was naturally discovered by many treasure finders within the area. The people here were clearly extremely familiar with this wasteland's overlord. Hence, when they heard that roar, their expressions rapidly changed as they started to flee. As Lin Dong stood atop the mountain peak, he was clearly able to view the ant-like crowd, which endlessly swarmed out from the forests. Lin Dong's gaze casually swept about, before looking towards the north. There, many similarly attired men were gathered. These were the troops of the ancient sword sect. Evidently, although the ancient sword sect was the strongest faction within this area, they were extremely fearful of the terrifying existence that was the ancient dragon ape. Even that grey-haired Chi creation stage elder's expression was serious as he stared in bewilderment towards the deep part of the wastelands. Third elder, what happened to the ancient dragon ape? Why did it suddenly become so violent? One of the guards of the ancient sword sect asked in a low voice. Upon hearing these words, the grey-haired elder shook his head. He was also confused about this situation. Everyone in the entire Great Desolation province knew how frightening this ancient dragon ape was. Who would have the guts to provoke such a ferocious creature? Forget it, let us not dwell on this matter and first return to the ancient sword sect. The grey-haired elder muttered to himself to a while, before waving his hand, and turning towards the direction of the ancient sword sect mountain. Behind him, many ancient sword sect disciples hastily followed. Atop the mountain peak, Lin Dong stared at the ancient sword sect disciples that had started to leave. The smile on his face grew increasingly wider, as a sword flashed below his feet and he tailed them from a distance. The ancient sword sect was not far from the ancient wastelands, and was only about half an hour's journey away. Hence, it was not long before Lin Dong saw the huge sect that was established halfway up the mountain in a distance. The ancient sword sect headquarters was clearly rather magnificent. A stone sword that was dozens of meters long stood within, and gave off a formidable sword aura. Around it, various buildings were connected together, and numerous ancient sword sect disciples shuttled about within. Is this the power of a sect? It is indeed very strong. As he stared at the bustling scene, a slight astonishment filled Lin Dong's eyes. This was the first time he had seen a genuine sect. Evidently, there was a world of difference between it and factions like the Blood Wolf Gang from Yan City. Lin Dong landed on a mountain peak a distance from the ancient sword sect, before seating himself to meditate. After quite some time, his eyes finally opened, as the smile on his lips slowly grew wider. It is time. Lin Dong softly mumbled, as his eyes turned towards the position of the ancient wastelands. Little Martin's seal had already dissipated, and it was certain that the unique undulations had been sensed by the ancient dragon ape. Next, it was time to enjoy a good show. Chapter 235, Ancient Sword Resents the Dragon Ape. 3 people were seated within a great hall in the ancient sword sect. One of them was the third elder who had snatched away 1000 beast fruit from Lin Dong in the wastelands. Junior brother disciple, is it true that something has happened to the ancient dragon ape of the ancient wastelands? At the head seat in the hall, a white-haired elder held a teacup, and took a small sip, before looking towards the grey-haired elder and inquiring. Yes, no idea why that brute went crazy, leaving us no choice but to return earlier." The grey-haired elder nodded his head. Some traces of a smiling expression lingered on his sinister-looking face, likely due to the excitement from his haul this time. "Ha, old three, I very seldom see such a look on you. Looks like your harvest today was not small." The smile on his face clearly drew that attention of the other two, as the other red-haired elder could not help but laugh in a firm voice. "Yeah, I did gain quite something." The grey-haired elder chuckled, before the 1000-beast fruit appeared with a flick of his hand. The vigorous energy undulations it emitted immediately drew the other two's attention. "This is..." Evidently, the other two were not familiar with this 1000-beast fruit, their eyebrows quickly furrowing as they asked. "I'm not too sure about the origin of this thing either, however, I can sense that if I am able to refine it, it will perhaps enable me to advance to the advanced Qi creation stage like my two sect seniors." The grey-haired elder was all smiles as he spoke. Upon hearing this, the red-haired elder's eyes could not help but reveal a look of envy. "Hee, fate has truly been good to this junior," the white-haired elder softly chuckled. However, before he could finish speaking, his expression suddenly turned concentrated. He could sense a slight tremble appear in the entire hall. "What is happening?" The grey-haired elder duo also sensed this, as their eyebrows immediately furrowed. The white-haired elder's eyebrows tightly knitted together. Soon after, he seemed to have sensed something, as his expression suddenly changed. In a flash, his figure dashed out of the hall, and his eyes concentrated at the skies to the west of the ancient sword sect. The undulations that caused the mountain to tremble originated from that direction. "What is that?" The grey-haired elder duo also closely followed, looking towards the western skies in astonishment as they asked. "It seems to be heading for my ancient sword sect." The white-haired elder's expression darkened a little, as he suddenly let out a whistle towards the skies. Immediately, figures burst out from the entire ancient sword sect like locusts, before appearing on the spacious training area before the former. "Everyone hear my command, get into your defensive positions. Any suspicious persons who enter the ancient sword sect will be killed on the spot." The white-haired elder's expression was dreadfully stern. With the aid of vigorous UN power, his ice-cold voice rang in the ears of every ancient sword sect disciple. "Yes. Sect leader." Upon hearing the white-haired elder's shout, all the ancient sword sect disciples instantly responded. After giving out the instructions, the white-haired elder's body slowly rose up. Beside him, the grey-haired elder duo also followed, as they stared at the western horizon with serious expressions. "Has it finally arrived?" On a nearby mountain, Lin Dong lifted his head and looked towards the western horizon. There, a familiar aura of ruthlessness had already spread out. Evidently, things had progressed as he had expected. The ancient dragon ape was still able to sense the 1000-beast fruit's undulations and had come to kill. A good show is about to begin. Lin Dong gazed into the distance, at the humongous figure that was growing bigger and bigger, as the grin on his lips grew increasingly wider. Rumble. At this moment, the ground suddenly began to shake. Every ancient sword sect disciple stared in amazement towards the west, as their faces gradually paled. This was because they had seen the huge behemoth, that was dozens of meters large, trampling through the towering trees, bringing with it a ruthless aura, and directly charging towards their ancient sword sect mountain. From the latter's scarlet beast eyes, they knew that the latter was not here for sightseeing. Ancient dragon ape. This mournful and ear-piercing yell rang out in the skies above the ancient sword sect mountain. At this moment, all of the ancient sword sect disciples felt as if a great disaster was about to befall them. Ancient dragon ape, in the skies. The ancient sword sect leader and the grey-haired elder duo were appalled as they stared at the huge ape, which steps shook the earth as it moved towards them. Even if their strength was outstanding, the skin on their scalps turned numb at this moment. "This brute, why has it come to my ancient sword sect?" The grey-haired elder's voice was rather piercing as he spoke. The ancient dragon ape and their sect usually never crossed paths, so much so that when they went to hunt demonic beasts, they would not dare to enter the ancient dragon ape's territory. Yet, why was that brute charging towards their ancient sword sect today? All ancient sword sect disciples hear my command. Those who are at the Yuan Dan stage and above, head immediately for the great ancient sword formation, and take a spot in the formation. The ancient sword sect leader's expression was extremely dark. At this time, he no longer had time to ponder why that brute had come to find them. The most important task at hand was to quickly defend against that brute, or else, if it was given a free rein to destroy, the ancient sword sect would instantly crumble apart. Yes. As the leader of the sect, the white-haired elder was clearly extremely prestigious. Hence, even at this moment, quite a few disciples hastily responded, before almost instantly rushing towards the surroundings of the stone sword that was dozens of meters large, each finding a position and seating down. My 2 juniors, the 3 of us will work together and maintain the great formation. That brute has the strength of the manifestation stage, thus we need to rely on the power of the great formation to contend against it. Upon seeing everyone get to their places, the white-haired elder once again spoke in a stern voice. Roger. Hearing his words, the grey-haired elder duo also hastily replied. All of them knew that only by joining hands and adding the power of the great formation, would they be able to match up against the ancient dragon ape. The 3 figures flashed and directly appeared around the huge stone sword. The 3 sat down, as waves of mighty Yuan power swiftly gushed out, endlessly pouring into the stone sword. While the 3 poured in Yuan power, the numerous surrounding ancient sword sect disciples and protectors etc., also roused the Yuan power in their bodies. Vigorous Yuan power undulations were like a resplendent river, as it swirled around the stone sword, a moving sight. Boom boom! While the entire ancient sword sect was forced to set up their defenses, the ancient dragon ape brought with it an astonishingly ruthless aura as it neared the ancient sword sect mountain. It roared to the skies before lifting a small mountain and ruthlessly flinging it at the ancient sword sect under many shocked gazes. The small mountain whizzed over, the huge shadow causing many ancient sword sect disciples' expressions to pale, as their legs trembled. Gazing at the looming small mountain, the ancient sword sect leader's expression turned cold, as he suddenly pointed out. The stone sword that was dozens of meters large immediately shook, as an extremely formidable sword aura gathered on its body. In the end, it shot out, and ferociously clashed against the small mountain. Bang! A loud earth-shattering noise rang out in the skies, as the gigantic small mountain was directly smashed to countless pieces, before raining down from the skies like a downpour of rocks. This ancient sword sect is indeed the most powerful faction in this area. When he saw the formidable attack of the ancient sword sect, Lin Dong was also a little shocked, however, the smile on his face quickly grew wider. A good show needed both parties to be strong, only then would they fulfill his wish. Roar! After the small mountain was destroyed, the ancient dragon ape let out a furious roar to the skies. Its huge hands clenched into fists, before abruptly punching out. Immediately, a black energy shockwave ruthlessly smashed towards the ancient sword sect, bringing with it a crazy and ruthless aura. Evil creature! Upon seeing wave after wave of attacks from the ancient dragon ape, the ancient sword sect leader was also angered. The seal in his hands changed, and soon after, the huge stone sword actually rose up from the ground, tearing apart the skies, before mercilessly clashing against the black energy shockwave. Boom! The terrifying energy waves that erupted directly broke all the towering trees in a 300 feet radius, such that even Lin Dong, who was some distance away, felt the powerful shockwaves from the collision. Great ancient sword formation split heaven and earth. The ancient sword sect leader's expression was stern and serious as his shout violently rang out in the skies. The Yuan power river that was formed from surging Yuan power immediately screamed, as it poured into the huge stone sword in the sky. Buzz! Under the infusion of such an enormous amount of Yuan power, rays of intense light actually burst out from the originally grey and dull stone sword. These rays seemed to be condensed from countless sword auras, and were terrifyingly powerful. It was as if even looking at it would pierce and injure one's eyes. Swish! Rays of light exploded forth, as the stone sword violently swept out, bringing with it an astonishingly formidable undulation, as it ferociously hacked down onto the ancient dragon ape. Before that formidable attack landed, a deep sword mark that was dozens of meters long had already appeared on the ground. Roar! Faced with the attack that was practically the accumulation of the energy of every practitioner in the ancient sword sect, even if this ancient dragon ape was a manifestation stage demonic beast, it did not dare to underestimate the attack. Immediately, black light gushed out from its body like a tide, and took the shape of a black armor-like object in the skies above its head. Clang! The stone sword heavily chopped onto the armor of light, as a clear sound rang out across heaven and earth, as if it was a storm that unfurled across the land. Clang clang! As the overlord of the wastelands, the ancient dragon ape could not be suppressed and beaten in such a way. After withstanding this attack of the ancient sword sect, its body once again swelled, as it waved its gigantic fists, directly coming to blows with the stone sword. For a time, astonishing UN power storms continuously erupted across the entire land. Lin Dong's eyes were filled with shock as he watched this astonishing fight. It was a long time later, before he deeply breathed in. This was the power of the manifestation stage. He did not know how many times stronger this was compared to the form creation stage. I wonder who is stronger, the ancient sword sect, or the ancient dragon ape? As he gazed at the exchange, an excited look flashed across Lin Dong's pupils. Soon after, he suddenly turned his head, and looked towards his surroundings. He could faintly see several figures swiftly rushing towards this area. Evidently, the disturbance here was too huge, and had drawn all the surrounding ancient wastelands practitioners over. It's getting more and more interesting. Upon seeing this scene, the smile on Lin Dong's lips grew increasingly wider.